Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial. My name is Dorothy. In today's video I'll be showing you how I cut and sew this beautiful princess darts mermaid dress. I used this dress for a friend's wedding recently. It was a bridal train dress, so if this is something you're interested in, please watch this video to the end so you won't miss out on any detail or explanation. I'm using this Duchess silk material for this tutorial. This particular Duchess is lightweighted. It doesn't have weight at all compared to other Duchess I have been using, and I really love the texture. So you can use this Duchess or crepe fabric. I think crepe material will work as well. For this video, we will not be doing much because most of the work have been done earlier. Like for this princess dart bustier pattern, I have the video here on the channel, and likewise the mermaid skirt pattern. All these videos are here on the channel, so if you haven't seen any of this video, please do so you don't miss out on any detail or explanation. I will leave the link of this video on the description box, even on the end screen and cards. Please watch those videos first before you watch this one, okay? Thank you. Because I don't want this video too long, I will take all the pattern papers and the fabric off camera and I will cut each of the patterns out. Just so you know what I will be doing off camera, I will basically fold this fabric into two, then I will place each of my patterns on it and cut it out. Okay guys, this is what it looks like after cutting my patterns on the fabric. While I was cutting my patterns on the fabric, on the sides I left sewing allowances. Okay, so on the side front here, as you can see, I left 0.5 inch sewing allowance. So I'm going to keep the both side front and the side back in work corner while we work on the neckline for the center front and the center back. For the neckline, I didn't touch the neckline because the neckline I will be working with is not a round neckline. It's going to be a kimono neckline for the front, while for the back it's going to be a V neckline. So I will be altering the neckline right here in the video. First of all, I will use my chalk to trace this neckline on the pattern paper on my fabric. Then I will remove the pattern so we can now work on the fabric directly. Remember, my shoulder is 7.5 inches. When I divided it by 2, I just measure it to confirm that it is the exact measurement that is on the fabric. And yes, it's the exact shoulder measurement, 7.5 inches. And I also confirm my neck width measurement and I discover it's 0.5 inch wider, so I adjusted it back to the exact 3 inches that I marked earlier. And for the neck depth, when I confirmed it, I discovered that it was deeper by 0.5. That means it's 3.5 for the neck depth. So I'll leave it like that because I wanted to add 0.5 inch to it. So I'll use my cover to just connect this point like this. Like I said earlier, the front neckline is a kimono neckline or a boat neckline. Okay, so my shoulder is already 7.5 inches, so I'm going to minus the 3 inches that I marked for the neck width from the 7.5 inches, and I had 4.5. so this 4.5 now I will divide it by 2 using my tape, as you can see me doing. Then I had 2.25, so I'm going to extend my neck width by 2.25. So now I'm going to use my chalk to connect from the neck depth all the way to the new neck width that I just marked. Then I'll cut it out. And when I open this up, this is how our kimono neckline or our boat neckline should be looking like. As for the back pattern, I'll be doing the same thing that I did for the front pieces, though the back piece is going to be a V neckline. So I confirmed my neck width measurement, and please take note of the zipper allowance that I left, even though I didn't roll it down. So when I confirmed my shoulder is still 7.5. Then I removed my neck width measurement, which is 3 inches from the 7.5, and I had 4.5. So I'll divide the 4.5 by 2 and I had 2.25. so I'll extend the neck width measurement by 2.25. And for the neck depth, I'll be placing my tape from the shoulder line, as you can see me doing, and I'll come down by 7 inches for my neck depth measurement. So this is totally optional. You can decide to go deeper for your neck depth or even go higher depending on what you want. So I marked 7 inches, and I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the neck width measurement, that is the new neck width measurement, down to the new neck depth measurement, and I'll connect a straight line like this. After connecting my point using my ruler, I'll go ahead and cut this out. And I will slit my back pattern open. And this is what we have as our back piece neckline looking like. And that is all for the front pieces. So I'll be cutting a lining for this, okay, and I'll be using the same fabric as the lining as well. For my skirt pieces, I had to do this on the floor, so I folded my fabric into two, then I placed my patterns on it, then I cut out my skirt exactly as a pattern. So what I did was I left 1 inch sewing allowance on all the sides, okay, except for the center front at the front piece. So when you look at the side front, I had 1 inch sewing allowance, and likewise for the back pattern, that is the back pieces, I had 1 inch sewing allowance on the both sides. For the front pieces, I went on to iron light paper gum on it. This is because the fabric is light and I want it to have some strength. I didn't pat this bustier at all. I just iron paper gum on the front pieces, then I double the paper gum at the bust cuff with light paper gum. Don't be like me. If you want yours padded, please go on and do so, okay? Now I'll place the side front on the center front like so, right side facing each other. Then I'll use my pin to hold them together, as you can see me doing. And when I was done pinning one side of my side front to the center front, this is what we have it looking like. So right now I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the second side. And after I was done pinning the both side, I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll go and stitch the bustier area. And I'll do the same thing to the lining pieces as well. And this is what I have it looking like after I was done stitching the bust cuff area. So right now I will take my scissors and I will notch this point that I stitch. I'll notch it. When notching your bust cuff area or even anything at all, please take time to do this. You wouldn't want to cut through the thread, okay? For the back pieces, I'll do the same thing I did for the front pieces. So what I'll simply do, I'll place my side back on the center back like so. Then I'll go ahead and pin it all the way around, as you can see me doing. Then I'll do the same thing for the second side as well. I'll place my side back on the center back, then I'll pin it all the way around. And I'll be doing the same thing for the lining pieces as well. This is what my back pieces is looking like after I was done stitching the dart. So right now I'll use my scissors to notch this part that I sewed. So these are all my pieces, my front and my back pieces, including the lining. So now I'll take them to the ironing table and I'll iron all the seam area opened. So this is what I had my front pieces looking like after I was done ironing. You can see how neat it is. I did the same thing to the other pieces as well, both the lining and the back pieces. So right now I had excess at the armhole area and I'm going to trim the excess using my scissors like so. So next I'll place my lining on top of these actual pieces, right side facing each other, okay? Then I'll go ahead and sew the neck area like this, then I'll sew the two sides. And also for my back pieces, I'll be doing the same thing as well. I'll place my lining on the actual piece, then I'll go ahead and sew the neck area and also the both side. And I'll be doing the same thing for the second side back. This is my front piece and this is what it looks like after I was done stitching the neck area and the both sides. So right now I'll go ahead and notch the neck area. After I was done notching, I'll turn this to the right face, okay? Then I'll arrange my neckline very well and keep it aside. Then I did the same thing for the back pieces as well. I turned them to the right face. Then I'll take them to the ironing table and I'll iron them properly. Here is my front skirt piece and as you can see, I already marked the dart area. So right now I'll go ahead and stitch the dart area like this. And I will do the same thing for the back pieces of the skirt. This is what I have after I was done sewing my dart, and I also went on to iron the dart area flat. So right now I'll place my front piece on it, then I'll go ahead and sew the waist. And I'll do the same thing for the back piece as well. And this is what it looks like after I was done attaching my half length piece to the skirt piece. You can see how beautiful it's coming out already. And I also do the same thing for the back pieces as well. So I'll place my back piece together, right side facing each other. Then on the zipper allowance, I went on to mark the 1.5 inch that I left for zip. Okay, so I'll measure this all the way down to the hip area where I want my zipper to stop. Then I will go ahead and connect that point together. Then I'll go and run a temporal stitch on it, and I'll also be extending the stitch all the way down to the length of this back piece. Okay, this is what I had after I was done stitching my zipper allowance. So right now I'll turn it to the right face, then I'll place my front piece on it, right side facing each other. Then first of all, I'll be joining my shoulder line. So for the shoulder line, I'll just open my front piece like this, place my back piece on it, then I'll use one of the shoulder line of the front piece to cover it up like this. Then I'll go ahead and stitch this, and I'll do the same thing for the second side as well. I will be stitching this shoulder when I am joining my bodies together. Now to join my bodies, I've already arranged my front piece and my back piece together. So on my bust point, I divided my bust circumference by 2 and I mark it on the bust point, as you can see me doing. My bust circumference divided by 2 is 18. That is 36 divided by 2 is 18. So I marked that on my bust point. Then on the under bust circumference, I went on to divide my under bust circumference by 2 and I mark it as well. My under bust circumference is the same thing as my waistline, which is 30. Then on my waistline, I divided the same thing because I have the same measurement on my under bust. I went on to divide it and I'll connect all those points that I just marked like this. Then I move on to my waist, my hip measurement. My hip is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So I measure 20 inches on my hip line like this. Then I marked it. Then I'll connect all these points that I just marked together. Then from my hip down to the length of the dress, I'll be marking 1 inch all the way, because from the knee line the dress needs to be as free as possible. And after I was done marking all my points, I'll go ahead and stitch all the side that I marked. And this is what it looks like after I was done stitching the side and also the both shoulders as well. Now to fix our zipper, I will open the zipper allowance. You know, I run a temporal stitch there, so I'll open it up. Then I'll go ahead and place my zipper and fix it. This is what it looks like after I was done fixing my zipper. So next on, we'll be working on the sleeve. To work on the sleeve, I'll first of all open my armhole, the part that I have stitched. Then I'll use my measuring tape and measure around my armhole. And when I measured around my armhole, as you can see me doing, I had 19 inches on both armhole. Then I added 1 inch sewing allowance to it, making it 20 inches. So right now I'll go ahead and fold my fabric into 4. Okay, as you can see, I already folded my fabric into 4 because we'll be cutting the both sleeves together. So now from the shoulder or starting line, I came down by 17 inches for my elbow line. Then I marked that. That's the line you're seeing right there. Then for the length of the sleeve, it's going to be a long sleeve. So the length of my sleeve is 23 inches and I already marked that. Then I left about 5 inches extra allowance for hemming. So this extra allowance, I'll be folding it in. Then I'll use my hemming gum to hem it. I don't want thread to show after I'm done sewing. Okay, and this is totally optional. So right here at the sleeve cap, okay, I'll go ahead and draw my armhole line, and I will use my free hand to draw my armhole just as you can see me doing. If you're finding it difficult to make a sleeve and you want me to make a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve pattern, please drop a comment for me. Okay, then I'll make a video on how to draft a basic sleeve pattern. After drawing out my sleeve armhole, I went on to measure it to make sure that I had the same thing that is on the dress already. That is the armhole on the dress, and yes, it is. So I marked that point. On my elbow line, I went on to divide my round sleeve measurement by 2. My round sleeve is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. I marked 6 inches. Then I added 1 inch sewing allowance. Then I use my ruler to connect from my armhole line down to my elbow line like so. Then at my wrist here, I will divide my round wrist by 2. My round wrist is 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Then I added 1 inch to it for the sewing allowance. Then I'll use my ruler to connect from my elbow line down to the wrist line. Then from the wrist down to the length of the sleeve. Now I will cut this out. After cutting this out, I'll go ahead and notch the waistline as you can see me doing. So because I don't want to fold the length of my sleeve, I'll simply open my sleeve like this. The 5 inches allowance that I left on the down part, I'll go ahead and fold it in like this. So off camera, I'll be using my hemming gum to hold this allowance down to it like this. And when I fold it like this is how my sleeve should be looking like. Okay, then I'll take the sleeve and attach it to my dress. And here is how my sleeve is looking like after I was done using my hemming gum to hem the length of the sleeve. Then I went on to attach this sleeve to my dress. You can see how beautiful and how neat it is. Please, when you are doing yours, please make sure that you weave. Okay, I was in a haste, I couldn't weave. Okay, I couldn't take this to the market to weave. And after I was done with the sleeve, I went on to hem the length of the dress, and that's basically it. Okay, so I attached a applique at the waistline. If this is something you want to know how to do, please just leave a comment for me at the comment section and I'll make a tutorial about how to place an applique. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment for me at the comment section. Thank you. See you all in my next video.